I'm Mike Underwood. I am Senior Communications Manager at Lifeways, and I'm here today with Jessica O'Boyle, who's an area manager.
That's correct, yeah.
But I've jumped the gun. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself and what you do.
Okay, so I'm Jessica O'Boyle. I'm an area manager for Lifeways, and I've been working with Lifeways for just over a year now. I support managers to provide quality and consistency over around 19 services across the area in Lifeways.
Which area are we talking?
I cover Staffordshire and Walsall.
Right. Big area?
Yeah.
Big job?
I would say so, definitely, yeah.
Bigger than you thought when you took it on?
Yeah, I think the difficulty is kind of ensuring the consistency of the quality across the board. That's the most challenging for me,
Right.
but also very, very rewarding
Right.
as well.
Describe rewarding.
Rewarding, I think it's seeing the people we support grow and build confidence within the skills that they want to develop, and also seeing colleagues, whether that's frontline or leaders, again building confidence and growing into a career within social care, and just giving them the skills.
Yeah. A perfect segue into, you mentioned there, growing it into a career. Mm-hmm. What was your journey into social care? And if you could start right from the beginning, that'd be brilliant.
Okay, so at school, I would say I really struggled to focus in regards to lessons unless I was really interested in something. I could be easily sidetracked. I was more into sports, very practical, and I thought for me, my journey would be more through the military. So I wanted to join the army and be a dog handler. My mum didn't want to sign me off when I was 18, so she's like, you need to go to college, get your education, get your qualifications. Qualification-wise, didn't do too good because I wasn't interested in your maths, your English, it just didn't really interest me. And when I was at school, I tried a bit of childcare as well, in textiles again, really wasn't something for me. So I went to college, didn't really enjoy that at all. It was that kind of focus again. Didn't really enjoy that aspect.
And what was it? What did you do at college?
I did public health to kind of develop to go into the army that I wanted to do. So my mum didn't want to sign me off to go into the army till I was 18. She says, I don't know if it's the career that you will want. I was very adamant, very stubborn. I was like, no, it is. So did the public health. But then within that, obviously, I was young, trying to go into college. I needed a job just to help me with day-to-day things, going and enjoying life as a young teenager. So my stepdad, he worked in the lift engineering sector. He would go into care homes, for example, supporting with lifts and that engineering side. So he went to just a general one that he used to go regular for kind of annual servicing. And when he was there, he must have mentioned, have you got a job here? And they said, yeah, we can make beds. Because obviously my age, I was only 16, getting to 17. You can make beds, take the menus, stuff like that. So I did that, went into doing part-time, actually enjoyed that interaction. I got a little bit of doing kind of your daily notes there to help the more experienced carers.
Was that a residential care home for older people?
It was, yeah,
Oh,
residential.
Okay.
It had both residential and nursing, but I worked on the residential area. I did that for a little while. And then also, obviously still at college at the time, I did a little bit of cleaning as well in another job. And then just kind of reverting back a little bit, when I was around 14, 15 off the top of my head, my nan developed dementia. It was quite advanced very quickly. So she went into a residential care home. Right. And when I would go to visit her, either with my mum or with my friends, I kind of just observed good care, but I also observed stuff that wasn't as person-centred as I'd like to see for my nan. She used to refer to, obviously, the name Jessica, because that's my name, but she didn't see me as Jessica at the age I was. She'd refer to me as a very young baby. So she'd talk about somebody, Jessica, not looking at me. She found a lot of comfort in the age that I was around, I think a year old, 2 years, something like that. So we looked at getting her a doll at that time for doll therapy, because she used to get quite agitated, shouting my name. So we'd give her doll therapy. That was really beneficial for her, and that was something that I helped to encourage. My mum was a power of attorney for both health and wellbeing and financial. Obviously, I was still young, and But I'd question certain things. Say, Mum, when you look at the support plan, just have a nosy if it says to do it this way because it's the way she likes it. So I was kind of focused on that kind of person-centred approach and didn't even realise it at the time.
So I was going to say, so it was like almost an innate and natural...
Very natural kind of thing.
Yeah.
But whilst doing that, that still didn't register to me that it was natural, even just questioning things and asking my mum to look at certain aspects of it. So I'll go back again. So when I then went into, I was doing obviously the bed making and doing the menus. I then reached the age of 18. I'd left college at that time.
Without completing the course? Or
I did completed it.
Oh, you completed it?
Yeah, I did. I completed that. I did maths as well while I was at college because I wasn't very good with maths. So I applied for a job because I thought, I've done a bit of menu making. I've seen how it works. I've seen kind of the interactions that some of the support workers and carers can do. I think maybe I'll have a go at that just as an interim because I'd met my husband at the time. And I applied for the job. I remember opening the yellow pages, which was then, looking through, ringing all these care homes. But because I hadn't got sometimes the qualifications in the health and social care sector, some didn't give me even an interview. I was lucky enough for one that was a nursing and residential home that supported around 98 people. They gave me an opportunity for an interview. I told them the story of supporting and kind of with my nan as well, and kind of what I'd want to see for a loved one. So they gave me the job. I was a care assistant then for around about a year and a half, 2 years in that nursing and residential home before I then developed to a senior care assistant. I then progressed from a senior care assistant and again another year, 2 years, and I was the unit manager for the residential and what was then an EMI unit for more complex behaviours.
EMI? What's that?
It's basically for more complex behaviours. So, for example, people with advanced dementia, challenging behaviours. It's kind of a secure unit. Yeah, it does. Yeah, right. So it's a secure unit. It was at the time. So what led me to that was I was challenging practices at the time. So you could see people who were quite regimented in the support they were giving, and I tried to get them to think outside the box. So within that, I then obviously became the unit manager. I was around about 2021. And then I was asked to go to one of the sister homes. So they had 6 sister homes at the time, again, nursing and residential, to go and do a quality check with one of the managing directors at one of the sister homes. It was over a Christmas period. So I said, yeah, I'll go help. I'll go do some auditing. Went there. I ended up staying at that service then for, I think it was 4 months as the acting manager. Really enjoyed it. It was obviously on a bigger scale than the secure unit. But for me, it was a lot of travel. I didn't drive at the time. The company was paying for taxis and travel expenses for me. So it wasn't obviously sustainable for them. So I decided to go back to the nursing and residential home. And then I applied for the deputy manager of that residential and nursing home. So I supported the registered manager there with the nursing and residential side.
But that was quite a big leap. Just from what you described there, and also when you went in, 98 people.
98 people that were supported.
That's a massive service.
Yeah, so
to be your first service.
Yeah, so the first service that obviously I was supporting, so I was in senior roles within that nursing and residential, but I wasn't the manager of that at the time. So when I'd moved on to the sister home, that was around 36 to 38 people we supported.
Right, okay.
Quite a new service as well that had opened. So it was about ensuring the quality was from day one, really. Mm-hmm. I then went back to the nursing and residential home, applied for the deputy role. I supported nurses as well. So I was also in a leadership role to nurses, which can be very difficult because they've got the clinical side and I hadn't got that experience in a clinical side.
That can be quite intimidating, actually.
Yeah, it definitely, because I think they were very firm on obviously their clinical skills. I couldn't challenge that, but I could challenge the quality, and now we provided that. And so that's what I would do. I'd supported them, and then I got pregnant with my daughter. I was 25 when I was pregnant with my daughter, and went on maternity leave. At that time, I was doing my level 5 in leadership because I'd done my other qualifications just within the role generally.
That's a good point, actually. What was it? Health and social care qualification you did?
It was,
Which
yes.
which one was it? And what
I
level?
did. So I did my level 2 to start off with. Then I went on to my level 3. Had a break. Did my level 5, which was when I was pregnant with my daughter. Because I remember being on maternity leave, and I was one of the people who coursework, just I could tell you about social care, but actually writing it down, reading the way that they would interpret them questions and how I would actually provide that answer, I sometimes found that quite difficult. But if you talk to me and ask me a question about how I deliver support, it can easily give you the answer. It was just that writing down. So sometimes my husband would actually read it and interpret a way that he knew that I would able to comprehend, and because he'd hear me come home and the things I'd enjoyed about my day and stuff like that. So I did my level 5. I remember the tutor at the time was pushing me because I was just about to give birth and I hadn't finished my level 5. She's like, you need to get this done. You haven't got long. So I finished that, had my daughter on, when I was on maternity leave, returned back to the deputy manager role. And then my manager at the time, who was the registered manager for that 90-head bedded home, she said, you're bored, aren't you? You need more. Because I was obviously doing teaching, moving and positioning, so I was helping some of the training aspects of it as well within that deputy role. I was like, yeah. She says, well, I've got a sister home that is underperforming. They'd had CQC in at the time. They'd had some breaches on the CQC inspection report.
What was their rating at the time? Can you remember?
Inadequate. It was inadequate, yeah, in quite a few aspects of that, and they were going to be potentially taken to court. So I then went in, and there was 2 other deputy managers there. There was already a manager. I just went in to offer support and guidance. The culture there was very embedded. You could tell from day one you walked in, and people were very set in the ways and the way that they provided the support. So trying to challenge that with other deputy managers who'd been there for quite some time was difficult, but it was trying to get them on my way of thinking and kind of that, how would you want your loved one to be supported? Is that the practice you would expect to be seen?
It's such a levelling question, that, isn't it? Because you can't say, well, I want them to be treated like dirt. No. You're just never going to say that, are they?
No. And I think whenever I provided support, even from as a frontline support worker, I'd always go in with the aspect of, I want to make their day go well, and how would I want my loved one to feel, and the good quality support I would expect for them, and that person-centred approach again. So I went in to try and support with the culture aspect, and within 3 months I was put in as the acting manager, and we had an inspection literally as I became the acting manager.
Oh, you're joking.
So they came in again, like, to kind of review the aspects of it. I hadn't been there for long at all. So they gave us an action plan. I had to develop and support with that. As I was in that acting manager role, and we turned it around in 6 to 9 months.
Wow.
To the point the senior QC inspector, basically, when she came in, she said, "You've got this." She was so supportive.
Wow.
We ended up in the newspaper because we were able to turn around the positive support. We were getting really good feedback. And that was, again, about doing workshops with the teams, getting feedback from the people we support and how they would want it, and having a good team as well. So it was developing your frontline staff. I would work with them and see skills in them where I could develop them and work on that. And within that, I managed to have some really great colleagues who went through the leadership ladder and they became managers. They've gone to nurses. There's lots of, And then, so I did that. I was there for around about 4 years. With obviously management, you can have some challenges there. Mm-hmm. And I went on and went into a charity-based service. So that was total opposite. So it wasn't elderly, it wasn't dementia support. It was learning disabilities, autism. Right. I never thought that would be the pathway for me because obviously I'd supported more elderly, more clinical side.
And then from your own family experience as well, it kind of like must have felt like that's what I need to do. That's what I'm going to.
Yeah, so that was kind of the route I thought I'd go by. So I thought, I'm going to give it a try. More exposure, more experience. So I worked with the charity as what's called a service leader at the time. So it's the equivalent to service manager for Lifeways. I did that for 4 to 5 years. And within that, I was able to really deliver good quality support. So they were 2P services that as I went into the role, they were just being 2P'd. So I was having to kind of take on from other providers. So there was multiple different providers, not just one that we were 2P'ing with them services, and really divulge into the quality and the quality advisors that we'd have coming out and doing our audits were able to identify some outstanding practice that we were able to deliver just by showcasing. Wow. So I was approached quite a few times to go into the area management role. It wasn't for me about moving up the ladder. For me, it was about how much I can give back and really get other people to deliver the quality that I would expect. And the more people you have in your team who are going to got that kind of focus, the more you can get good outcomes.
Yeah.
So the area manager role at the time was in a different area. I didn't drive. I'm not very confident driving. So I was like, no, it's not for me. There was a quality role that came up and I was asked to apply for that. And I was like, no, I don't know if I can do that. It's a bit further out for me. So, but I knew I was ready to kind of develop a little bit further and provide managers with some of the skills I'd learned from some great managers that I'd seen and some leaders. So I applied for Lifeways and was offered the position as area manager. So
you came into Lifeways as an area manager, have it, and all of that background basically.
Yes, it was
enabled
more senior
you to
role,
get that role.
Yeah.
So to me, from what you've said there, you've got a natural confidence or a belief that in doing the right thing for other people.
Definitely.
Where does that come from? Is that something you learn? Because I'm just thinking now, if you're listening to this and you're 16, 17, you might be thinking, well, what skills or what characteristics do I need to have to be able to do this job? So what's the DNA of a...
You have to have core values. You've got to have a foundation of being empathetic, patient, and a love for people, and wanting the best for them, but listening to them as well of not what we always think is best for them, but what they want for their lives, and kind of helping them to have the skills and resources to do what they want. So I think even when I'm interviewing now, and historically when I've interviewed, just because you've got qualification in health and social care doesn't give me that doesn't give you the foundation of the values that are needed. You are born with that, I think, and we can give you then the skills and the qualifications as you naturally experience that hands-on support to basically have a tick box to say that you've got that qualification, because I think you naturally just...
So do you do that in the interview process then? Have you got questions that really drill into the core of this person is suited for support?
Definitely.
And care?
I think obviously with Lifeways we've got our own values that we promote and obviously look for when we're interviewing. But I think you've got your core questions that are about your knowledge, your experience. But sometimes they might not have experience, well, what they feel is experience because they've not been in the job or that sector. But they've actually done it when they've been with their loved ones or they've supported somebody just naturally. And I home in on that, and that's what I think, right, that's a skill I can really embrace, and you can mould them into a fantastic support worker and then a career out of that in the future.
And did you ever think that where you started from, that you would end up an area manager? And clearly you've obviously got not your own lofty ambitions, but people might just, like, as it seems to have been throughout your career, you've just been plucked and put into higher levels of management.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that would happen?
No.
When you started out?
No. Because when I did it, I had a sense of purpose just from delivering that hands-on support. It wasn't natural for me to want to grow, if you know what I mean. I just was like, I was observing things. I'd identify a way that we could adapt that support for being more person-centred. That kind of was then grasped on by other leaders who saw that in me and go, you've naturally got it.
Yeah.
And you want to challenge people to get the best outcomes.
Yeah. You've probably already answered this, but I'll just ask it in a more direct way. is what would you say to someone 16, 17 years old, not academic, more hands-on, care about people? What would you say to them about coming into social care?
I'd say try not to focus too much on the qualifications. Yes, they're great, and they can give you the knowledge. But coming into social care, I think if you just give it a try, you can learn as you go. And if you've got them core values, you can have a really meaningful career out of it. Not only are you shaping people's futures and lives, you can shape the person that you are as well. And I think for me, it really shows when the more I talk about my role, I think it shows the passion. I think
Absolutely does, yeah, it really does. Could have just done a mic drop there, by the way. Shapes the person you're going to become. Loved it. One more question, which is around what the realities of the job, because it's not just anyone can do it. I mean, our whole recruitment campaign is called "You're Not Just Anyone," because not just anyone can do this job, and that's what we've talked about. What are the realities, the highs and the challenges, would you say?
The highs are seeing confidence skills grow both within the people that you support and your colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the challenges are other people's expectations of what they expect to see in care, the resources that you're able to access from external, and kind of sometimes you're having to be the advocate for that person we support, and you aren't always getting the support from external professionals like I've just mentioned to you. Some are great, sometimes it can be really difficult, but as a provider, you're the one expected to provide absolutely every aspect of that. So I'd say that's challenging. And also sometimes losing some of the relationships that you get. So you build some great relationships with the people we support, and obviously sometimes that can end. That can be quite challenging and difficult, but also rewarding because you've been able to give them something really special.
Yeah.
That they've really been able to enjoy their life, and I think that's also rewarding.
Yeah, brilliant. Jessica, thanks so much. That was brilliant. You were brilliant, and your story's great. And I think, genuinely, I think that will be inspirational to a lot of younger people who don't know what they're going to do when they leave school. It's not uncommon at all. So thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for being put under the microscope.